and welcome back to some more Rune Factory. Oh gosh, no. Talking like that, bad. Got it. Not good. Regardless, it's time for one of the annual Steam sales. The spring sale I just noticed was going on. Booted up Steam to start recording and got hit with, hey, you have a lot of games on your wish list for sale. So I went and bought a few games. You know, some. And now I have a whole lot more games to start recording, none of which I can actually upload for tomorrow, so guess I'm doing more fish percent. Ooh, yes. Harvest from the animals. Oh gosh, leg! So, yeah. There are quite a few games there. And I kind of wish I could have Steam open on my other computer, watching it download the game so I could list them all off. But I decided to get that, was it Unshrouded game again. Anyway, it looked nice. Also got Valheim, because that is on sale now, so I decided, okay, might as well get that. I was going to get Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, but even on sale, it's still like $50. It's like, I don't know. Like, alright, so like, Ratchet Deadlocked, I played a heck ton of. Like, that game, that was worth, like, what would have been at the time, $60? Yeah, that was worth it. Ratchet 3? Heck yeah. Ratchet 4? Nah, maybe. The Ratchet PS3 games? Probably not. So I don't, like, I didn't start off with Ratchet 1, so I don't have the impression of, like, having, you know, played through it as a kid to know if I would think it'd be really worth it for the gameplay experience, because I don't really remember what it was like to play it for the first time. Well, I do remember what it was like to play it for the first time. I played a little bit of a demo of one of the levels at a store that sold video games, because they used to just actually have game demos available just, like, in the aisles. You could just walk up there and just play a demo of a game. Like, that was just a thing that you could do. Yeah, better than going to an arcade, because you didn't even have to, you know, put in some quarters to play it. That would be a funny way to try to bring arcades back. Playing game demos, we have to, like, pay a quarter to play or whatever. Yeah, pay a token to play some game for it a bit. Speaking of games that are made to be arcade games, I should play Death Smiles again. Ow. I played that game exactly once, and I think I enjoyed it. Almost with my German accent and it sounded good. What? I don't know if they said good, I think they said pretty? I don't know. Got, right, stuff, things. Bunch of new games to start playing, and like, I already have this Saturday booked for a new game that I've been playing. I've done a few episodes of, and frankly, I should do more episodes of as well, because I should actually try to finish a game before jumping into new games. Part of why I've been playing Tevi so much lately is because, like, hey, I should finish this game before I work on something else. And another part of why I've been playing Tevi so much lately is because, like, it's a nice and charming, cute little game. How about instead of doing Rune Factory, you have one of those games as your other semi-daily alongside Tevi? Interesting idea. I think I generally want to keep Rune Factory, though. Genuinely? How is that word pronounced? It's genuine. But genuinely? It sounds like I'm saying other words to try to make up for the fact I don't know how to pronounce it. Whatever. I really want to actually play. I want to keep Rune Factory as one of my semi-dailies. That's part of what this channel was built on, was Rune Factory. I am the Rune Factory gamer. Speaking of being the Rune Factory gamer, can anyone else think of a new challenge run that I could do for Rune Factory 4? Because I kind of do want to play through it again, but I've done a casual run. I've done watering can only. So, like, what's next? Yeah, watering can only, but this time can't even use foods. And, like, oh gosh. I mean, all that would be... Authentically, all that is do more grinding. I don't want to do minimum percent. Minimum percent sounds lame. What if there's some way to, like, trick the code into making it think that you've already beaten the game? And it's just, like, in Act 1? Rune Factory 4, but go for the hidden dialogue option. Oh! Okay, okay. For those of you not in the know, and frankly, I don't blame you for not knowing this, Rune Factory 4 has a special dialogue option for if you go to the first dungeon for the first time and you bring your child along with you. What do I want honey for? Alright, the next tier of healing potion requires honey, right? It's like the same as the previous tier, except it's just also throwing some honey. I think that was it. I don't need y'all to like me, so I don't need to brush y'all. Or talk to y'all. I just need to gather some honey. Honey, honey. Oh, why is I thinking there more? Yeah. Go to the first dungeon for the first time with your child, and you get extra dialogue. However, the only way to go to the first dungeon for the first time with a child is to play as a female character and marry the butler. I want to say Vishnal? I don't believe his name is Vishnal. I don't remember. Because every single other partner that you could get married to and have a child with either requires stuff from later in the game in order to go through all the whole route, or is not available until later in the game. If you're familiar with the game, you know exactly what I mean. What if there's something like that for Rune Factory 5? Oh gosh, what? I just got hit by a... I want to play Rune Factory 5 again. I want to play Rune Factory 5 with just a watering can and see if that game is actually, like, difficult with it. Because that game was flippin' easy. Because I had, like, equipment, proper stats, all of that stuff. I want to play just watering can only and see if it's going to actually be a challenge now. Alright, yeah, I think the clovers won't be ready until, like, mid-winter, though, right? Like, 60 days? And didn't I plant them in summer? Yeah, I did plant them in summer, because, like, a few days after planting them, I thought, hey, why don't I just plant a whole bunch in my field? And that was in the summertime. I'm primarily interested in trying to pick the one that's specifically in the blue spot. Uh, I completely lost my train of thought of what I was thinking about earlier. Oh, right. Harvest the one in the blue spot, because that's like one day ahead of the rest, so that'll be ready for harvesting one day before the other ones will be, etc., etc. Life goes on and all that stuff. Nope. Yeah, so many awesome new games to play. How long will it be, do you think? How long do you think it will be before I actually play any of them? Because I have a feeling that it's probably going to be a while before I actually get around to playing them. Yay, depression! Is it depression or is it just sheer boredom of life? Because I think those are the same thing. I found looking. No, people online just being weirdos. Yeah, I'd rather not get into the whole thing of people yelling at me on the internet because they think that Pinkie Pie is naturally black-coded. Because one piece of art has her using, apparently an Afro pick. I don't know. So obviously she's meant to be a black character, and it's like, if people want to draw her as being a black character, sure, fine, I'm not going to stop you, not going to insult you, nothing of that. But saying that she's supposed to be a black character because you can see one, like, someone drew a picture of her with something that is apparently only ever able to be used for black people hair. supposedly, according to them, it's like, I mean, I have super messy curly hair. Uh, I have super messy curly hair, and I have been given that exact same type of comb. They told me it was a comb at the time. Random person on the internet says it's an afro pick. I don't know. But I was given a thing that looked just like that and told to use on my hair because a normal, like, brush or a normal comb wouldn't do anything to it. The person's like, yeah, so what? You can use it, but it's made for black people hair. It's like, hey, maybe Pinkie Pie has the same thing that I do, where she just has messy hair. Like, again, if you want to think of her as being black, that's fine. But don't get angry at people saying that, like, she's pink. People saying, like, oh yeah, black-coated pony characters. It's like... Someone made a thread, it's like, oh yeah, these 4 characters are black-coded. It's like Pinkie Pie, Twilight, the Weed Pony, and someone who appeared in like 2 or 3 episodes. Mage Meadowbrook, I think? And it's like... Twilight was in there because in one of her potential concept arts for Equestria Girls Twilight, she was drawn as being black. And it's like, hey, that is a nice design for her. But apparently, these people say she was supposed to be black-coated the entire time, and it's like... I don't want to be racist, but I'm really not sure. Like, I don't want to say that she definitely wasn't, or that she definitely was. But it's like, to say that she definitely was, I think requires a bit more evidence, even like not like specific, just even more circumstantial evidence than here's a piece of concept art someone drew of her. Like, I mean, of all of the characters to be black-coated in My Little Pony, I thought Sakura would be the top of the list because, like, I guess since she's not a pony, she doesn't count or something, which, that's bringing in even more potential racism. And it's like, it's fine to watch the show, it's fine to like the characters, it's good to see yourself as the characters, generally speaking. But to get mad at someone else for seeing themselves in a character in a way that differs from yourself? It's like, dude, you're being way too possessive of these cartoon characters. Like, someone wants to, you know, someone says that they think of every My Little Pony character as being whatever race because that's just how they see them. It's like, oh yeah, all of them are black, all of them are white, all of them are Asian or British or Ethiopian or... It's like, okay. Like, oh, shoot. Almost closed the game. Whoops. Yeah. If someone wants to say that they see the characters as being certain ethnicities, like, alright, sure, whatever. If someone says, oh, this character is definitely this ethnicity, it's like, they're a cartoon magic talking horse. Or zebra, or dragon, or... Yeah, they did, right. Or a cat, or a griffin, or a hippogriff, or a sea pony, or... like... It's like... Outside of specifically the confines as provided in the show, Words. Saying words. I don't know if OBS is actually capturing the audio of the game. But yeah, outside of the specific, confines of the show, one can't really make any specific claim as to what the characters are. Like, one can say that Zecora is African because she is a zebra and zebras are from Africa. But it's also true that Equestria, the world where the story takes place, doesn't have an Africa. You can talk about how skewed up it is that we never see any other zebras in the entire show ever, and I'll agree with you there. There should absolutely have been more zebras, 100% true. Yeah, we don't see any other zebras. But then if someone comes... Yeah, we don't see any zebras other than Zecora. But then if someone decides to say, oh, well, all of the other zebras were killed off because of reasons, that would just be an outright falsehood. Like... And then, of course, people arguing online, they don't have any actual, like, answers to the things. Like, you can't say that X character is specifically Y. They say, oh, well, you're just crying like a little crybaby. You're a little, like, whiny crybaby who just wants everything to be... It's like, no, you're the one making these hard claims about characters. And stuff, and it's like... I saw some fan art that someone drew. Or was it yesterday? I saw some fan art that someone drew with the characters as humans in, I think the only way to really describe it is not in the same stance that the characters... Yeah, not with the same appearances that the characters are usually drawn as being humans when they are portrayed as human. So, to look more like real people instead of cartoon characters. Body hair, fat, short. Some of the proportions were a bit off. Yeah, some of the proportions seemed a bit weird. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, you want to make fan art of the characters where they look like actual people? Sure. I think... I'm not 100% sure, but I think in that picture, the only white characters were Fluttershy, and I think Applejack. Was Rainbow Dash? Maybe Rainbow Dash. It's like, yeah, sure, people can have complaints about other people's fan arts, but don't, be mean about it. Like, I found it curious that, human Rarity wouldn't be wearing high heels, because, I think in the show itself she wears heels. Not often, but occasionally. And stuff, and, yeah, the Rainbow Dash looked too muscular considering that she's an athlete, and the Applejack didn't look muscular enough considering she's a farmer. Oh yeah, I'd imagine being like an orchard farmer, you would build up muscles? That's an interesting, thought. I mean, it's just an assumption, because I've seen, farm work and stuff, and especially modern day with machines, blah blah blah. But imagine if you're working at an orchard, and you don't have machines like tractors to pull... Like, you have to carry bushels of apples and stuff. But imagine you build up some muscles. And I'm pretty sure that if you're an athlete who specializes in speed, you probably wouldn't have a lot of muscles in your arms. Legs, perhaps. But I don't think your arms would be super muscular if your thing is speed. But hey, I'm not going to, you know, disparage the person who made the art. It was nice art. It looked nice. I'm not going to yell at them or be angry at them for it. They wanted to draw a, you know, a buff rainbow dash. A buff mask rainbow dash. Mask as in masculine, not mask as in, like, COVID. And I'm just like, alright. Sure. They drew Fluttershy wearing a trench coat. It's like, strange, but alright. Yeah, people get so, I don't know how to say it, possessive, almost violent. Well, people do get violent on the internet, but like someone's talking about a point about recent Commander. He has to jump train tracks to from MLP to MTG. There's a Commander that was released, what, this year? Maybe last year? Recently, let's say recently. Where essentially it's a 5/5 commander, so you know, okay stats. That often gets played turn 3 and attacks turn 4 as a 7/7, if not bigger. If you Voja, sometimes bad, whatever. A 5 mana, but whenever it attacks, all of your creatures get a number of +1/+1 counters equal number of elves you control. And you draw cards equal number of wolves you control. And it itself is a wolf. So the gameplay, when you play it, is turn 1, play a force, put out an elf. Turn 2, play another land, cast another elf. And you still have an extra 2 mana to do whatever other strategies with. Turn 3, play out a third land, tap your 3 lands and your 2 elves. Turn 3, cast your 5-drop commander. Turn 4, if you play another land, you now have 6 mana to work with. Maybe put out another elf or 2, maybe put out some wolves. Even if you do none of that and you just plain attack, then that is, you know, turn 4, attack for 7, and also you have 2 3/3 elves. Oh, and Voja has Trample, so if it gets chump blocked, it still deals damage to the person. And remember, it also draws a card on attack. At least one, even if you don't have any of the wolves out. Oh, and it has Vigilance, so it can block very well as well. But it also has a Ward 3, so if it ever gets targeted by an opponent's thing, if they don't pay an extra 3 mana, and remember, this is swinging on turn 4, so if they don't spend pretty much all of their mana, whatever thing that targets it will get countered. And people are like, oh, just run more, like, 1 mana removal in your decks. It's like, okay, if the Voja player is going first, and if you don't ramp turn 1/turn 2, which decently common in Commander games, but like, if you don't ramp, then you have turn 3 to try to answer it before they start getting a payoff of it. So you basically have to play a 0 mana removal spell on turn 3, and then pay all 3 of your mana, and not be able to develop your board or play any ramp spells or anything else. You just have to remove the thing, and that's it, period. And then people in the comments start screaming, oh yeah, well here's this 2 mana spell that deals 2 damage to all creatures. I'll just play this on turn 2 after they play their 2 elves. 100% of games I'll have this in my opening hand or by, you know, turn 2, and I'll just play this turn 2 and destroy all of their elves so they can't ever cast the Voja. And I'll run like 20 copies of this card in my deck? What do you mean that's illegal? That's a stupid thought to make. No, I'll play 20 copies of this one card in my singleton deck. And it's like, if you have to sideboard to deal with a specific card, You're no longer playing casual. If you have to specifically put cards in your deck to specifically answer what someone else is doing, you're not playing casual anymore. But these people start screaming about, like, that's how they want to play Magic. By making sure people have to tech against... I did not toss the honey right. Okay, good. That's how they want to play the game. By making it so people have to tech against anything and everything that they do because reasons. And it's like, yeah, that's not the game. That's not the game you think it is. And then people, so it's like, oh, well, you're just a crybaby who can't even know how to play the game properly. What are you complaining about? I'm just there saying stuff like, yeah, it is kind of annoying to play against when they, you know, get this out super fast. And then suddenly they start calling me a crybaby about it. It's like, I'm not crying about it. I am talking rationally about how, yes, this card is oppressive and bad for casual. It's like, oh, well, in my casual table, we're basically playing CDH, so it's completely fine. It's like, do you not understand that the C in CDH doesn't stand for casual? You don't understand that? Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm just looking up the pharmacy real quick to make sure that I can actually make this potion. Blue, green, honey, herb, bottle. Yep. $600 HP recovery. That's... yeah, definitely better. Level 26. But yeah. And then, of course, yeah, people are so quick to go into, like, personal attacks online because they know, well, what are you going to do? Like, punch me for, like, the stupid things I'm saying? No, because I'm safe on the internet. Anyway, a Nazi recently got doxxed, and I can only imagine what people are going to do about him, but... yeah, person who posts, Nazi comics online all the time. People recently found out who he is and where he lives and all that stuff, so... I mean, if it was the other way around, if there was someone being targeted by the Nazis who got doxxed yesterday, 2 days ago, they would already be dead. But since it is a Nazi who got doxxed, I'm sure they're going to live. But they might actually finally get arrested for, you know, being a Nazi. So, hey. Yeah, games, fun. Let people have fun without trying to attack the people. You can disagree with... It's possible to disagree with someone. I'm adjusting the microphone. It's possible to disagree with someone without trying to do a personal attack against them. And it's also possible to disagree with someone and have that be a breaking point for why you want them to be arrested. Like, both of those can be true. Because, like, if someone says something like, oh, I always saw such and such characters being this ethnicity, sort of a thing. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's like, oh, I always saw, like, this main character to be my ethnicity. It's like, well, I always saw this main character to be my ethnicity. Both of those are, like, statements that, like, two different people can have and be completely civil about. Well, generally speaking. For something like My Little Pony, where there is no given ethnicity, other than, you know, pony, where they're not humans. But then when people are like, oh, well, you're an idiot if you think that she's anything other than this, it's like, she's pink? Like, I don't know what you're getting at here. But she's pink, like... Or it's like, hey, I think that this commander and its general play pattern is too strong for a nice casual game of commander. And then people attacking them for it's like, well, you should find a new play group. You should design a deck to play with your meta. It's like, my meta is strangers I play with on the internet, because I'm not lucky enough to have a designated group of at least 3 friends who all play the game and are all ready, willing, and able to play just whenever I want to get a game in. Like, I've been trying to find a new local group to play in-person games. It's not exactly easy to find. But yeah, it's like, oh no, we'll just adjust to your meta. Just brew your entire deck around stopping their commander. You know, put all the free counterspells in your deck, so every time they try to cast Voja, you just counterspell it for free. And then they can never play the game. But then you can also never play the game because you're too busy mulliganing down to 3 cards just so you have a counterspell for their commander. And it's like, yeah, that sounds incredibly lame. Like, I don't even do that kind of stuff for playing CDH. Like, heck, I don't even do that kind of stuff for comparative formats like Standard and Modern. Now, of course, Modern only barely did acceptable in. I don't think I ever won Friday Night Magic, but I did do decently occasionally, and I never ever cared about the meta. Like, oh, everyone's going to be running such and such cards, so make sure to, like, boo around it. It's like, no, I don't care. My standard deck that I've been using, and that is a comparative format where you should know what other people are running and be prepared to brew around the meta. Yeah, my standard deck is mono black discard, because that's my go-to for making a standard deck. Because it's easy to pilot, easy to play. And I don't have to worry about... don't have to worry about the super ultra meta cards if I can just, you know, look at my opponent's hand and discard the good cards away from them. You can't do that in Commander with Voja, though. You can't Thoughtseize out someone's commander. Well, you could play Dranith Magistrate and hope that in their deck they have no way of dealing with it, so they can never actually cast the Voja. But again, if I have to check out my deck specifically for dealing with specific other cards, not, oh well, commanders are good in general, so you should run removal, whatever. No. Voja is an oppressive card, so you should run answers for Voja specifically. You should run counter-target Voja spell. You should run, you know, the board wipes that deal 2 damage to every creature for 2 mana. Specifically, if someone plays turn 1 elf, turn 2 elf, you can go, haha, screw you! And it's like, yeah, no, that's completely lame. that is incredibly lame. Like, I'd rather spend my turns, you know, playing the game instead of making sure someone else doesn't play, but other people have their fun with, hey, you see that player? I'm going to make sure they can't play this game. So the two of us don't really play, and the other two just have a one-on-one game. We see, well, that person didn't make proper eye contact with me, so I'm going to make sure that that person can't play the game. And I'm going to, like, destroy all of their creatures and counter all of their spells and always attack them with all of my stuff. It's like, dude, this is a 4-player game, not 1v1. I've been in too many Commander games that just were essentially 1v1 games. It's really annoying. Oof. I gotta say, with these new potions, there is a very real chance I could actually make it all the way to the, that I could actually beat the whole challenge. Maybe next episode I'll go and try that challenge again. This one I'm too busy, playing with my Minotaur pet. What else have you... Oh right, I got some stuff in the mail. I got a new deck box and a new board game. Still haven't played the board game, but I wanted to clear off the table, then got distracted with other stuff. It's called Executive Dysfunction. I think, maybe. I don't even know. Gotta notice that they're finally gonna do parking lot cleanup. Like, yes, it's about time.
Good evening. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Logging is only level 83, so this still needs a fair bit of work. Do. Mm. People like to complain about reading comprehension being taught in schools and stuff. And then people will go and read half a sentence and think that's the gospel. Someone will say something like, uh, I'm personally against nuking children. And then someone will say, and someone will read uh, the words, I'm nuking children, and go absolutely insane about that. And it's like, well, it's like, that's not what was said. Like, I understand that English is a difficult language to learn and stuff, but you could try a bit harder. Like, people posting images of text and stuff saying, "Hey, look at what these cannibals did," and and like the paragraph that they like show to quote unquote prove their point even says, where they supposedly ate stuff that appeared to be human flesh, and then they'll take that as, see, they ate human flesh. It's like, supposedly and appears to be. No, no, just, those words don't exist. It's like, yeah, the concept art used for Twilight, human Twilight, is very 70s coded, which is kind of strange. Yeah, notably, at least I'm decently sure, notably, no specific year is stated in Equestria Girls, where they go to the human world, so it could almost theoretically be any time period, supposedly, except, I mean, of course, it's somewhat modern day. They have computers, but they're like a bit old. Yeah, they have computers, but they're a bit old, and I'm not sure if they do in the TV show, but in the spin-off, at least they have cell phones. So it's like, well, you know, Crusty Girls first aired, what, 2013 or so? It doesn't have to take place in 2013. It could be like 2000 or so. Don't think that would be the 70s. Computers seem too new for the 70s. But yeah, they have her here wearing, like, I don't even know what style of skirt that is. With, like, knee socks, but it's, like, those white socks. And it's, like... But anyway. Yeah, I can't even bring myself up to be, like, want to talk more about the situation, because... Oh no, like, it's not even an oh no, it's like, oh, someone drew this character to be black. Alright. My comment on it? It's kind of weird that she's using a wand. Because, I mean, I feel like that's an understandable thing to say. Like, Pony Twilight never used a wand because she had, you know, a magical horn. And I'm pretty sure in Equestria Girls, Twilight never actually uses a wand. Because, like, where would she have gotten a wand? Equestria doesn't have wands. I'm decently sure that Equestria doesn't have wands, and it's not like the human world would have them, so where would she get a wand? Weird fashion, that's like, whatever. Oh god, you know what I want to see? uh... God. It would be... Yeah. Imagine Twilight being brought in to playing some, like, card game. I remember ages ago, someone made some fan art of Twilight and Trixie playing Magic the Gathering against each other. And I remember sitting down at a Magic event and someone had that art as a playmat, and I was all like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then they introduced me to Inked Gaming, where you could get, like, whatever art you want just made as a playmat. And ever since then, and like, it's decent quality playmats. Like, I don't know how exactly to tell what's an amazing quality playmat versus what's just good. But I know it's not a bad quality playmat. This is not a sponsor. I feel like whenever someone says anything good about a corporation, they always have to say that it's not a sponsor, but if it is a sponsor, they also have to say that it is a sponsor. So can't the default just be a thing is not a sponsor? I've got a few playmats from them, including one with my YouTube logo on it that I use, and I don't know if me using it to like spread my logo around has ever actually worked, because pretty much no one ever actually asks about it, but whatever. I like the logo. I really want to like pay for commissions for like more of my characters and stuff, but with AI art being still super ultra mega popular, I also really don't want to pay someone and they just go, oh, here you go, and I just paid what, 5, 10, 20, 30, $70 for something that they just typed a prompt in and had a robot make it. It's like, oh, well, all you have to do is learn how to tell when art is AI generated and tell them that you won't pay for AI generated art. And the second part doesn't work. People have specifically stated that they don't want AI generated art, and the supposed artist, the self-proclaimed artist, still gives them AI generated stuff in hopes that they just won't notice. And oh, well, all you have to do is be able to look at a picture and tell if it's AI generated. A thing I can't do with every picture. Sometimes it's obvious. Pretty often it's obvious. But other times I see a picture, it's like, yeah, someone could have drawn that, and someone goes like, oh, well, like, this one finger is like a pixel thicker than this other thing, like the nose is all wrong, the lighting comes from two sources, off, like, off screen, off panel, off the image, like, here's like 17 things wrong with it. It's like, okay, and keeping that list you made in mind, I don't see 16 of these 17 things, and the other one could have just been a stylistic choice. Like, what do you mean the nose is all wrong? It looks like how someone would draw a nose. And it's like, oh, here's like, I don't know, a picture of two people supposedly like in a movie theater. It's like, you can see that one of them is looking at the screen, but the other one is like looking off to the side, some random direction, not looking at the screen. Obviously, this is AI generated. It's like, no, I see the one that's looking at the screen. Judging from the angle of the seats, that is where the screen is supposed to be. Okay. And the other one isn't looking off in some random direction. They're looking at the person next to them. Like, they're not off looking at the ceiling lights or looking at the sidewall. It's like, I can pretty plainly see that the one is looking at the person next to them. That's why they're not looking at the screen. It's like, so it's like, how many of these supposedly obvious things are actually obvious? Like, how many of these, like, is that an actual obvious tell it's AI generated? Or is that just one of those things where I am willing to give an excuse to a thing that seems plausible to cover up a deficiency? Which is a thing that is apparently completely foreign of a concept to do. Until people do it and it's completely off the wall. Like, person will say, oh, such and such game, show, movie, whatever, has an obvious plot hole with, like, these two characters talk about, a part of the plot, but neither of them were there to see it happen. So how could they have been talking about a thing that happened early in the movie? It's like, well, you see, like, character A has been hanging out with the main character, and the main character did that plot point, and character A hung out with the main character after that plot point, so one could assume that the main character told character A about it after the event. character, and we see after the event character B watching the news. It was a pretty big event that had happened, and so while we don't see specifically character B watching about the event on the news, one could assume that the big event would have been on the news that we saw character B watching. So both of them could very well have gotten some of the information of what had happened, and then when they see each other, character B knows that character A knows the main character, and so might then ask character A about the event, knowing that they know the main character who was part of the event. Like, if I heard through the news that there was, like, a fire at a local school, and, like, yeah, if I heard in the news that there was a fire at the school my brother goes to, then the next time I talk to my mom, I might ask her, it's like, hey, what's this about, like, a fire that I heard? It's like, yes, it would be better to talk to my brother about it directly if he knows something about it. But if I can't talk with them first, I'd probably, talk to someone he might have talked to about it. Kind of a thing. But then people say, it's like, oh no, that's just a plot hole. And it's like, it really isn't. So many people say, oh, well, such and such is just a plot hole because they won't think for 2 minutes about... Cause, one of the things was Ruby, was it volume 6? Right, trying to get my Ruby volumes straight, because I think that... Right, Ruby volume 4, Ruby volume 5. Ruby volume 5, they get a relic from a vault, but they don't really know about it. Volume 6, it's revealed that the relic can answer 3 questions per 100 years, and one of its questions has been asked already. This is somewhat glossed over. It can be asked. People can ask it 3 questions per 100 years, and they will get an answer to them, as long as the questions fall under certain stipulations. Okay, sure, whatever. But one of the 3 questions has been asked. So someone has already asked it a question within the past 100 years. So, who would have asked the question? What would they have asked? And what would they have done with that information? And it's like, that's never brought up. However, considering that the vault was in Mistral Academy, the Academy in Mistral, presumably, and it's been stated that there's been an era of peace for the past 100 years. Ergo, no one would have been fighting for it. It makes sense to believe that the relic has been in the vault for the past 100 years. There's no reason to believe that it wouldn't have been. Plus, the only person who can open up the vault is the Spring Maiden. Yes, spoilers for Ruby, but frankly, if I hadn't already... pretty sure I've already talked about this in the past, and trying to spoil as little as possible, but now the spoilers are going to start getting pretty heavy. The only person who can open up the vault is the Spring Maiden, but that's not completely true, because the only one who can open up the way to get into the vault is Lionheart, the head of Mistral Academy, who has been under Salem's thumb for a while now. One of Ozpin's 3 most trusted people in the world was secretly under Salem's thumb for a number of years by this point. And sure, it could just be a play of, Lionheart, because he's the Cowardly Lion, Wizard of Oz, parallel. It's kind of weird that he would just betray everyone like that. he led people to their deaths. He put huntresses and huntsmen out on missions where they could get ambushed and killed. So much so that all of the huntresses and huntsmen of Mistral died. Why would he do all of that? Well, at some point, the Spring Maiden and Lionheart, or, the people who came before them, would have had to have gone into the vault together, assuming no one broke in, which it could be safe to assume that. So, however, also, the Spring Maiden has been reported missing for the past, I think it was about 10 or so years. 10 or more, yeah. Yeah, some more than 10 years. I don't remember exactly how long it was supposed to be, but it's been a while. So it couldn't have happened within that span of time. What we find. The Spring Maiden ran away because she was scared about, the war, the upcoming war against Salem and all that, and Lionheart didn't blame her for it. So what if the Spring Maiden and Lionheart were the ones who had gone into the vault? Salem starts rising up. They want to know why Salem is the way she is. They go in, ask about it, get all the information that we got at the start of Volume 6. Excuse you, what was that? And then they go, oh no. Oh no, no. And then they, get scared, turn tail, and run. Like, together. Lionheart has to stay. Spring Maiden runs away, where she meets, and this is canon, where she meets Raven, Yang's mother. And eventually, Spring Maiden was killed by Raven, transferring the Spring Maiden powers to Raven. That is also canon. Like, confirmed to be true. And also confirmed to be true is that Raven ran shortly after Yang was born. Raven ran away from her partner at the time, Taiyang. And then Summer came, had another child with Taiyang, Ruby. This much is canon. And then need some water for this one here. And then it's also confirmed that one day Summer went out to try. Yeah. Why won't this go any further? Like, that will go out further. And it's confirmed that Summer went out one day to go on a mission and never came back, implied that she went out to try it. So, my theory at the time was that Spring and Lionheart asked the Maiden about Salem. They learned about it. They learned about Salem's history and all that. Lionheart got scared. Spring ran away, got caught by Raven. Spring told Raven about what had happened. Raven then told Summer about it. And then Raven was all, hey, you should, get away. You should try to run. All that stuff. And Summer's all like, no, I have to try to take down Salem one way or another. And that's why Summer left and then got killed by Salem. And that's why Raven has been, on, like, away from her family so much, but because, and this part was actually says canon as well. At the end of Volume 5, Raven took the Spring Maiden's powers, put a target on her back for Salem to try to catch her, and left her family so Salem wouldn't kill her family to get to her. Not because she's brave, but because she is a coward. So, Raven, the previous Spring Maiden, and Summer all knew about Salem being essentially immortal and everything else that had happened there. And all of this was confirmed at the end of, I want to say, season 7, where it is flat out stated that Salem is familiar with Ruby's mother. Salem, a person who has lived for long enough for the human race to go from nothing to humans, so maybe thousands of years, potentially billions of years, and she specifically remembers Summer Rose. Out of all the people that she's met and killed, she specifically remembers Summer Rose. So yeah, all that theory, but then of course if someone just saw the show, didn't think of that whole theory, and at the end it's like, oh, you're just like your mother. It's like, oh, when did Salem ever meet Summer Rose? That's a plot hole. It's like, no, it's not. It's really, really not. But, like, whatever. Maybe I just make too many excuses for things. Maybe I see things in a way that other people don't. Maybe it actually was a plot hole that just happened to have some excuse for how it worked out. I don't know. Oh well.